What's up, guys? And we are back, and this time we're gonna be looking at Ruby. So you've already seen the other three videos, and if you haven't, make sure to click up there somewhere. Should have a playlist to there, or after you finish up the video, make sure to check the playlist with the other colors as we work our way through all 6 colors here in Lorcana. So this one, yeah, this is Ruby. Ruby is the boogeyman of Lorcana, and we're going to be going through the top 10, technically the top 12 cards that you should have in your collection. All right, guys. So before we jump into the list, I just want to throw this out here. If you haven't already done it, leave a comment. Just tell me what you think is going to be the number 1 card, or let me know at the end of the video if I did it wrong. Because if you leave a comment here, or you leave a comment on any of the videos here, every video you comment on is a chance to win one of these starter set decks. Yeah, 2 lucky winners are going to win one of these decks. And yeah, we appreciate everything you guys are doing. But make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button. You leave that comment for your chance to win that. All right, so the first honorable mention, it's nothing special, but it is one of those cards that you're going to need as a staple because, well, she's the good one drop. This is Minnie Mouse. Minnie Mouse, always classy, is just a 1/3, 1 inkable character. Nothing much here, but when you look at some of the other cards that we're going to see on the list, you're going to understand why you kind of probably want her early, depending on how you're building your deck. Now, she's one of the control characters in here, and of course, depending on what your other color is, she may not be as needed, but this is a common, and you really should have these in your collection if you don't already have her. All right, so the second honorable mention is going to be Pongo, Old Rascal. Pongo is a 4-drop inkable, 2/3, taps for 2 lore, which is awesome, and he's got evasive. Now, evasive is the reason why we have him at the honorable mention, and honestly, he was very close at the number 10 slot. This is a card that's really, really great, especially in some of the other decks like your Amber, Ruby, Mufasa type deck. They're going to be running this card, and this is just one of those cards where I think with evasive being a huge, huge threat in, chapter 4 or set 4, this is going to be a card where you can answer those Diablos and all those other cards that are going to be coming down with evasive. So this is why he's so close to the list, but definitely wanted to mention him so you guys can think about picking them up. All right, so getting into the actual top 10 cards, we're going to start it off with an item, and this item is Maui's Fishhook. Maui's Fishhook is a 3-drop inkable, and it's got some text here. So if you have a character named Maui in play, you may use this item and its ability for free. It's pretty big when it comes to Maui, because its ability is for 2 ink and tapping it, you can give a character evasive until the start of your next turn, and chosen character gets +3 attack this turn. So this is pretty huge because we saw the rise of locations, and most of the really good locations have a lot of defense. So being able to throw down Maui's Fishhook and actually use it on Maui for free allows you to take down things like the Queen's Castle and other cards that are going to be pretty disruptive and things you just don't want on the board. So Maui's Fishhook has kind of made the rise in the control decks, and we'll see when we get to chapter 4 how many are actually in the decks, but I do foresee this still being a card because of the fact you can give evasive. So now you can give your characters evasive to take down those other evasive characters. Moving on to number 9, we've got Teeth and Ambitions. So Teeth and Ambitions is a song. It's 2, it's inkable, and you do 2 damage to one of your characters, and you do 2 damage to one of your opponent's characters. This has pretty much been one of the staples when it comes to removal in the red deck. And the reason why this card is so low on the list is we are getting some other new cards in set 4, like Sisu, that may take the place of Teeth and Ambitions in some of your matchups. This is still a great card, and this is the reason why Minnie was on one of our honorable mentions as a target for this, so that you don't actually lose her, but you can take out one of the other cards. All right, so number 8. Number 8 is Scar. Scar, a Vicious Cheater, is a really, really great card. Now, it's a little pricey. It is a 7 non-inkable, but this is one of those cards that are showing up in some of the red-blue decks because Scar has Rush, and whenever you defeat another character, you are able to ready the character. So essentially, as he comes down, He's a 6/5 and he can take out multiple creatures. Now, this is one of those cards where we're not sure where he's going to land with set 4 because you do have Sisu Dragon, the bigger dragon. But honestly, this is one of those really, really strong cards because of the fact that he untaps off the rush and you can swing again. So think of a Maui that can kind of do it twice. I know he costs a little bit more and he's uninkable, but he's really good in the game changer, especially in decks like that Mufasa, red, yellow, or amber, ruby deck that we talked about earlier with Pongo. He fits really great in there because he also taps for 2 lore, which gives you some ability that if nothing's on the field, he can gain you 2 lore, which is really great. All right, so in the number 7 slot, we have Queen of Hearts. Queen of Hearts is inkable, a 2-drop with rush, and she's a 2/2. Now, this has been a great card with, the ruby decks, especially with all of the different decks floating around that are fast. So your Amethyst Steel, your Emerald Amethyst, decks like that had a lot of really quick creatures coming down and having to deal with them. Again, set 4 has Sisu, but I think that Queen of Hearts still has a spot because of the fact she can come down and attack same turn, and she can potentially take out things that Sisu can't. All right, so in the number 6 slot, we have a card that's been here for a long time. She was released in set 1. She was a huge finisher for all of the control decks, and she still pops up as a couple in a bunch of the decks. So she's usually a 2 of, a 3 of, because of the fact she can be inked early and played when you really need her. This is Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. So Maleficent Monstrous Dragon is a 9-drop inkable. Yeah, she's a little costly. She taps for 2. She's a 7/5. She's a really big creature who can come down. And as long as you've got some ramp or something like that, or you're good at controlling to get to her, she's going to be great. Now, when you think about picking her up for your collection, just keep in mind she is a little pricey because she's a legendary from set 1. And yeah, you probably don't need a full play set, but I definitely would say you want a couple copies because she usually gets slotted in as your late game finisher, as maybe a 2-drop. And again, being inkable is the reason why she's still, sticking around in a lot of these ruby decks. All right, so number 5. Number 5 is a Lady Tremaine, Imperious Queen. And yeah, Lady Tremaine is really, really good. She is a 6-drop. She's uninkable. She taps for 2 lore, a 3/4. But the reason why she's here is when she comes down, your opponent has to sacrifice a creature. Now, a lot of the times, decks are going to have multiple creatures, but as you can start removing stuff off the board, when she comes down, she's going to hit the card that they care about the most. And it doesn't matter what card it is, as long as it's the only one there, that's the one it's hitting. And she also has Shift. Now, Shift is kind of a little strange here because you're usually not running anything smaller than her, but as a kind of note, you can shift her on top of herself. And then if you're in purple, use a Mim, bounce them both back, and have them for another turn as well. So she ends up being really, really good because of that recursion, especially when you have that game where you be prepared the whole board, they play their one character the next turn, you play her, and you're back even again with your character on the board tapping for 2 while they have nothing on their side. So this is one of those cards. I think she'll stick around for a while. She definitely has gone from a 4 of to a 3 of because of a card we'll talk about in a little bit, but she's definitely in most of the red decks. So if you don't have them, they're great cards to add to the collection. All right, so number 4, well, we're going back to the evasive, and this is Minnie Mouse Stylish Surfer. She is a 3-drop inkable, a 1/3. She's evasive, and she taps for 2 lore. This is one of the cards that have kept the ruby decks around, only because the fact that when she comes down for 3, she's tapping for 2, she's evasive, and most decks in these past 3 sets really haven't run a lot of evasive, and she kind of sticks around. A lot of the removal can't hit her just because a lot of it does 2 damage. But yeah, I think she's one of those cards that will stick around, and having that evasive is actually gonna be pretty nice because you can fight off the other decks with evasive. But again, tapping for 2 on a 3 cost character is pretty huge. So the number 3 card, yeah, this is the boogeyman of the format. This is Be Prepared. Be Prepared is a 7-drop song, and when you play this, you banish all characters. So it doesn't matter what side of the field it's on, it's gone. And this is the reason why Ruby has just had a stronghold. It's a safety net. It's a, oh my gosh, I'm behind, I'm losing. How do I catch back up? Well, you remove the board. You get rid of it all, and then you just restart and go from there. This is one of those cards that everybody has to be aware of on turn 6, on turn 5, to understand what they're committing to the board. And this is the reason why Ruby has been one of the top colors every single set. And honestly, I think it will continue to be one of the top decks as we go into set 4. So if you don't have your Be Prepared, you definitely want to pick them up because they're not going to come down in price anytime soon. They're only going to go up until maybe at some point they get a reprint. But at this point, they're going to become more scarce over time. So yeah, if you don't have them, I definitely would recommend picking them up. All right, so going from number 3 into number 2, we have Madame Medusa. Madame Medusa is one of those cards that when she got printed, she really turned the whole game over. She's so good, guys. She is a 6-drop, uninkable. She only taps for 1 lore. She's a 4/4. But the biggest thing here is when she comes down, you can banish a character with 3 power or less. And if you look at Lorcana, most characters are going to be 3 or less. And honestly, even when you're going against Steel, this hits Robin Hood, which is pretty huge. So all in all, Madame Medusa hits probably 80% of the threats you're going to see on a board, maybe even a little bit more than that, to be honest. And this is the reason why she's so good. Now, Medusa is the reason why Lady Tremaine is being less used. And again, they're both in most decks. You see some kind of split, whether it's 4/3, 3/3, something like that. So if you don't have this one, you're going to need it because it is going to stick around, especially with set 4 getting things like Ice Cube that everybody's talking about, being able to make things that are 4 a 3 so she can hit her. But yeah, this card, definitely a pickup. All right, and so that leaves us with the number 1 Ruby card. And of course, you guys have probably already guessed it. It's Maui. Maui is a 5-drop inkable 6/5 with Rush and Reckless. Now, Reckless is his downside. He does have to attack if he has a target to attack. But the Rush coming down and being able to take out characters, because 6 power pretty much kills everything on the board today. You want to make sure you get your play sets there. They're inkable, so having 4 in your deck is not a problem, because if you don't need them right away, you can ink them, and if not, you can use them. Now, keep in mind with Reckless, you can make him sing so that he doesn't have to attack if you don't want to, or if they have a location, he can swing into a location rather than hitting a character. So just keep that in mind with him with Reckless. But again, he's been a powerhouse. He's still around. He's going to continue to be around. So you want to make sure you get him. So guys, that was Ruby. So many good cards, guys. So many good cards in Ruby. This is one of the strongest colors. It's been one of the strongest colors since set 1. It'll probably continue to be one of the strong colors even in set 4. You know, going from maybe red purple into red blue, what we're seeing a lot more, which we saw that in set 3 as well, but I definitely are going to see that even more in set 4, as well as red purple. I don't think Ruby Amethyst goes anywhere. It's going to continue to get stronger. Maybe it's not the top deck anymore, but it's definitely in the top 2 or 3. So these are the cards you will need for those decks. I would definitely check them out. And yeah, if I missed one, leave a comment down below. Maybe there's a card that you thought is even better than these in Ruby. So just let me know down there. Maybe I got them in the wrong order. Maybe you thought, you know, Maui's number 3 and Medusa's number 1. Just let me know. It's all about the conversation here, and we're still trying to work our way towards that 1,000 subs. Because guys, if we hit the 1,000 subs, yeah, we've got a trove. We've got a trove we're going to give away to one of our lucky subscribers. Whether it's that trove, whether it's this trove, you know, set 3, set 4, we'll figure it out. But we have a trove to give away there. So make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you hit the sub, you hit the like, and all that stuff, guys. And I appreciate everything you guys are doing for this channel. It's feeling good. So appreciate you guys. Until next time, y'all take it easy.